take part as we prepare to make this year's convention a hit. The convention will take place Friday, June 16th to Sunday, June 18th at the La Crosse Center in La Crosse. Been there often, Dom.
Yeah, I saw Rob Zombie there.
Vendors will have the opportunity to prepare booths at the La Crosse Center on Friday, June 16th at 3:30 p.m. Registration opens at 4, and what do you know? The Devil's Advocates come on the air at 4 o'clock.
Perfect timing.
You know, they talked about Saturday and Sunday, but most important was the Friday part, because we could have gone and broadcast starting at 4 o'clock. In fact, they encouraged us. Attached, you will find a form to reserve a booth. Payment must be received before the space is reserved, so please confirm upon receiving this letter that you are interested in reserving a booth. Oh, absolutely, I am.
No, this is like, so the Dems are this weekend in Green Bay, the Republicans next weekend in La Crosse, and Civic Media, you are going to be there this weekend in Green Bay. Is that you got
like a that had been the plan.
That had been the plan. Okay, so no hospitality booth.
Well, they're probably still going to have.
Okay, all right.
It will serve spotted cow, is my understanding.
Excellent. We'd love the spotted cow.
I'll take some of the blame or credit for that. But anyways, back to the Republicans, man.
Just want to
try to tell a story.
I'm just trying to get clarity, man.
All applications subject to review and approval by the Republican Party of Wisconsin. There is a very important clause.
I wonder what the review and approval process looks like.
Well, it must be completely arbitrary because some young staffer named Jordan received our email and a personally delivered check by our colleague Jorge. Jorge brought him a check. Hi, Jordan. Thank you for the email and the application. It was nice to meet you. We'll be dropping off the application later today, and I feel quite assured that Jorge delivered the application with the accompanying check from Civic Media to the Republican Party of Wisconsin.
Man, like personally, like went over to the joint and hand delivered. I mean, that is some service, man. Civic Media is the best.
It was like concierge, first class, you know, because we are a first class operation.
If nothing else.
If nothing else. And then we got this response. Wednesday, June 7th, 2023, 4:37 p.m. Note, conspicuous in the time, we were already on the air. Busy by then. But again, Jorge was the one that delivered it, our occasional party and companion, Jorge. It says, hi, Jorge. While we appreciate the interest of Civic Media having a vendor table at our 2023 state convention, we have decided to decline the application for this year.
What?
I'll be returning your check.
What?
Thank you for stopping by. I enjoyed meeting you.
Is he going to personally hand deliver the check like we did?
All the best. Jordan Wildman, Operations Director, Republican Party of Wisconsin.
Jordan.
The last time anybody sent back money to me, right? Like, didn't cash a check of mine. And I didn't write that particular check, but you know, I feel like since I'm telling this story,
our check,
the royal check written on behalf of Civic Media, the corporate entity that I have sort of a tangential relationship with, they sent back the check.
They sent the money back. Who was the last person to send you money back?
iHeartMedia. When they canceled our ongoing relationship to produce the greatest radio show ever from their Madison studios, we had just signed a national syndication contract, and they actually gave us notice, ironically, Dom, 10 days before the election of Donald Trump. We counted them down on the airwaves. And now, these years later, I somehow feel today is a mission accomplished day in a multitude of ways. But anyways, Bob Tatterson joining us today. Get to know him better. He is your assembly candidate in District 24. That is the Grafton, Germantown area. Beautiful part of Wisconsin, I would assume.
No, Crude, I'm a little, this is news to me.
Being rejected by the Republicans, that's been happening our entire career now.
What?
Do you remember when Scott...
What about bipartisanship? What about reaching across the aisle? What about, we've had Republicans on the show many, many, many times. Less so recently because...
As recently as last Friday, in your absence, I had Joe Gianconti, regular Joe, conservative talker from the greater Green Bay market.
I wonder if regular Joe's going to get a booth over at the La Crosse Center for the GOP.
Oh, I'll have to text him during the break.
Maybe you could show up and, do a little co-hosting with him.
You know who did warn me? Told me it wasn't going to wasn't going to work out.
Who's that?
Joel Clayfish. I was, wined and dined, or at least shown around his beautiful office. He's a lobbyist now. He's on the Capitol Square. Beautiful. Overlooks the Capitol from his office. And I went over there and I said, we're going to be at the Republican convention. He's like, what? I said, well, that's my goal. We've made application. We intend to go to the Republican convention. He said, oh, man, they're not going to let you in.
Come on, man. Wow. Won't cash our check, but we got to continually hear from, you got to hear from everybody. You get both sides of the story and bipartisanship. But when we want to go to the party, when we want to go and hang out and come into their house, we're not welcome.
Dominic, if you would like to go party and shake it up, Buzzard Billy's right down the road, man. We'll stay at the Holiday Inn Express. I'm not sure if I want to make all that effort for the Republicans at this point.
Seems like a lot of work, man.
If you've rejected me, I don't know if I should set up camp immediately outside your green zone.
Seems like a little crazy if you do that. A little stalker-ish. So we'll just have to take it and leave, I guess. How much was the check for?
More than $500.
Oh, damn. Hey, they must be rolling.
It was a multi-day convention. Worth it, I'm sure, every penny. Come back, more Devil's Advocates live in the Shaw. Jack Smith Day, we're celebrating nationwide.
Get them out. Ready? Are you ready? Get them out of here.
What's the best way to clean your carpet? Well, not surprisingly, it's the same way you clean your clothes. You wouldn't clean a dirty shirt by running a white cloth over the top of it, nor would you try to get it clean by sprinkling chemicals and rubbing it in. For a real clean, you need hot water, agitation, and a cleaning agent, just like your laundry. For a fresh, healthy clean with no residue, call Zero Res Madison or schedule online. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
The Brandy Old Fashioned is Wisconsin's official cocktail. How do you go about making yours a little official-er? Mixing Wisconsin's own Drink Wisconsin Blee Brandy. It's smooth, it's delicious, and it's bottled right here in Wisconsin, giving your Brandy Old Fashioned even more local flavor. And what about those times you're out and about and don't want to bring along a muddler in a glass? Drink Wisconsin Blee's got you covered then, too, with their Brandy Old Fashioned in a can. Enjoy Wisconsin's quintessential cocktail anywhere. Ask for Drink Wisconsin Blee beverages where brandy is served or sold. Remember to think responsibly when you drink Wisconsin Blee. Drink Wisconsin Blee Beverage Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Todd Alba Show.
We'll be moving to the afternoon, Monday through Friday, 1 until 3. Trygve Olsen has graciously agreed to follow us into the afternoon. We're going to get to talk about the Lincoln Project and politics in Wisconsin, all across the state of Wisconsin.
I know, isn't that exciting? Where the beer is cold, the cheese curds are squeaky, the Harleys roar, the Eagles soar, and the Packers score, Todd.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekday afternoons from 1 till 3 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Here's your Mad Radio forecast. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 58. West winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Daytime highs approaching 82. Tomorrow, cloudy skies expected. Cloudy again tomorrow night. Scattered thunderstorms likely. Lows around 53. Temps a bit below average Sunday and Monday with highs in the upper 60s. Scattered showers both days. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 80 degrees.
This summer, Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX has a new starting lineup. 4 to 6, the Devil's Advocates with Tom and Cruz. Then at 6, the Maggie Dawn Show on Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX.
I've paid my dues time after time. I've done my sentence, but committed no crime.
The big and tall of political talk. The Devil's Advocates.
I've made a few.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. You can join us on the lines at 844-967-2789. Candidate for Assembly District 24, Bob Tatterson, going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Maggie Dawn and 5 o'clock. So we'll squeeze your grievances in today as well.
Dom, I appeared on a fine radio show on the Civic Media Network earlier today, as goes Wisconsin. Our friends Kristen Bry and Jane Mantnier, I felt welcomed. For the first time, I didn't thrust myself upon them by being a caller. It was the first time I was invited to appear on the show. And I had a good time this morning, and they asked me, kind of did a host thing. And, they started with like, what was the best story of the week? I assume political. We do politics around here, but they didn't frame it as
Yes,
such.
that's right.
And I said, this one's going to surprise you, team. But I choose the best headline of the week. Wisconsin Rep Mike Gallagher says he will not run for Senate in 2024. And here's why that's the best headline of the week. Because it means the unbeatable Tammy Baldwin is going to continue to be the U.S. Senator from the great state of Wisconsin, the very progressive Baldwin. Whoever runs against her, not named Mike Gallagher, is going to get beat by double digits.
Tom
Gallagher,
Tiffany?
oh, he will get particularly thrashed. Toxic Tom, yeah, he'd have a problem. Gallagher was the only one I saw that could offer a competitive campaign. And if he ain't in it, there ain't nobody in it. And here's the one other thought of Crudy. The timing. The morning after his president, Donald Trump, got indicted, 38 counts, according to Devil's Advocates math.
And Mickey Dog.
He makes the announcement, I got to spend more time with family and my House subcommittee.
I got
gavel holding.
The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reports what Gallagher had to say. Quote, I'm staying in the House and leading the Select Committee on China because our work is simply too important to be a part-time job. He goes on to say, quote, we have a fleeting moment, a rare opportunity to forge a bipartisan consensus around the actions necessary to defend America from Chinese Communist Party aggression and win this new Cold War. That mission is too important and too exciting for me to abandon. And the fact that his former president just got indicted on 38 counts yesterday had nothing to do with that whatsoever.
The timing not conspicuous whatsoever now. 844-967-2789, our Friday tradition, airing the grievances. It's hard to air the grievances when it's Jack Smith Day up in here.
I've had a lighter step today, man. A lot of people I see around that, know that we do the politics and pay attention and not real fans of the former guy. Also very smiley. It's just been a beautiful Wisconsin day today.
You know what I was so very encouraged by? The number of people on the Facebook that called it Jack Smith Day. They knew we would declare this Jack Smith Day. And I must assume there are others that would think similarly, parallel, Dom.
No.
But we're the ones that popularized calling it Jack Smith Day. And it is your day, Jack. Congrats. Quite proud to be an American today, I got to tell you, Dom. 844-967-2789. Mark, always proud to have you as a friend. Welcome, sir. What do you got for us?
Hey, Mark.
Yeah, thanks. What kind of salute was it that Maggie gave you when you saluted you?
You can use your imagination.
Both hands, 2 fingers.
What's remarkable, what not so remarkable, is the Republicans defending the indefensible in Donald Trump. You'd think they'd want to distance themselves just a little bit from Donald Trump's potentially
distance themselves.
Traitorous
behavior. They're going to embrace this cravenness. This makes him more electable in the Republican primary. It's a witch hunt.
It's just remarkable that there people are willing to overlook. On the face of it, Donald Trump probably was the only reason he took that stuff is to monetize it. Donald Trump, that that's all he does with his entire life is monetize relationships and whatever he can lay his grubby little hands
certainly
on.
Try to. I mean, I know he claims to be a businessman, but he hasn't had that much success. He inherited a lot of that money, Mark. But yes, no doubt about it. And that's one of the big questions. So we have the what, we have the facts, we have the indictment, but we don't know why. Of course, we do know why, but the indictment, Jack Smith, they're not getting into why. I don't think people want to know why, although we all know why. But how terrible would it be if a former president was, very lackadaisical with these kinds of nuclear state and security secrets?
You mean more lackadaisical than saying stuff on tape like, I've got the documents, I know.
Look at this.
Here are documents I have that are classified. They're military secrets, and I know I didn't declassify them.
I mean, on tape, Russ, on a recording in his own voice, acknowledging the crime. I mean, so it seems pretty buttoned up, but we'll get more detail.
You think that's going to work against him in a court of law, Don?
Yeah, and it's not going to work with him. But to Mark's point, though, how the Republicans are reacting. Well, last night, as I was driving home from Brady Street after hanging out the Roman Coin with Maggie and some friends,
Roman Coin.
I happened to listen to a little Sean Hannity, and he had Mark Levin on, and Mark Levin was losing his freaking mind. A couple of quick notes. If you ever heard Mark Levin, you can appreciate it. Merrick Garland is a mob lawyer. I mean, he was freaking out. This is an insurrection. There is no law. This is Mark Levin. I'm like trying to quote right to this guy's losing his mind. So they're what are the reactions of grief, right? Is anger the first one? I think that's the first one. But you should have seen it coming, Republicans. I mean, it is Donald Trump.
First comes denial, I think.
Oh, is it denial? Okay. I don't know. I don't grieve, man. I'm happy today.
When are they going to have a reckoning, Dom? That's my question. Well, first they'll try to. I forget.
There's bargaining.
There's
involved.
bargaining.
Yep,
There's
yep.
bargaining involved. I'll make you a deal. Stick around. We got a fine guest coming next, and the woman who did all the homework, Maggie Dawn, joins us in the happier happy hour. But Bob Tatterson, an Assembly Dem, or at least he hopes to be soon, from District 24. Come back with us. It's Jack Smith Day, y'all.
An unsealing of the more than 3 dozen charges against Trump.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with felony violations of our national security laws, as well as participating in a conspiracy to obstruct justice.
The classified documents found at his Florida estate last year. Trump is expected to appear in Miami federal court next week. Joran Vandersloot appeared in a U.S. courtroom for the first time, pleading not guilty to fraud and extortion charges connected to the 2005 disappearance of Natalee Holloway. Family spokesman George Seymour said Natalee's mother is relieved he is facing U.S. justice.
I think her reaction was just relief, that we're finally here. It's been a long process. It's been 18 years in the making.
This is ABC News.
Continue the conversation online. Find and follow Civic Media on Facebook and on Twitter.
For Civic Media News, I'm Terry Bell. Here's what you need to know in South Central Wisconsin. You now have to go through metal detectors to get into SSM Health clinics on Madison's east and west sides. Violence is getting to be a bigger problem in healthcare facilities. There are metal detectors at the ER at UW Hospital, but not at Group Health Cooperative. The Gay Pride flag is flying over the Wisconsin State Capitol building. June is Pride Month. Governor Evers says it's a sign of welcoming.
For all those who've only ever wanted to be and belong, who've had to find their own family, and who've never known home, you belong here, you are family here, and you are welcome home.
That's Evers during his weekly radio address. Evers is the first Wisconsin governor to order the Pride flag flown at the Capitol. I'm Terry Bell, and this is Civic Media News.
Attention, Wisconsin veterans.
Hello, I'm Tony Evers, the governor of Wisconsin. If you are veterans struggling to pay for rent, utilities, or other life-sustaining services, I want you to know that the Veterans Rental Assistance Program is here to help. You have already made a most noble sacrifice. You shouldn't have to continue doing so. We are here to support you. The Veterans Rental Assistance Program was created by and for people living in Wisconsin, with benefit approvals being issued to veterans in just days, not months. It's never easy to ask for assistance, but rest assured, we're here to help. You've always been there for us. We want you to know that we're here for you. Call 833-WIS-VRAP. That's 833-947-8727. or visit vrapwi.com. On behalf of the state of Wisconsin, thank you.
Darcy Haber, I hear you have solar panels on your office building. Since when are real estate brokers so concerned about the environment?
Drew, you should know that at Solidarity Realty, we provide outstanding real estate service while adhering to our core progressive values. Environmental sustainability is a big part of that.
So you really walk your talk, huh?
Yeah, I even walk to work.
Come on, always?
Well, sometimes I bike, and if I have an appointment across town, I use my solar panels to charge my plug-in.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, and they're honest. Check them out at solidarityrealty.com.
Join the conversation with your favorite hosts or shows anytime. Follow Civic Media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Share your thoughts on our social media channels wherever you are, whenever you want. The Civic Media network of local radio stations here for you.
Warning, listening to the Devil's Advocates may expose you to opposing views.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Friday edition. Feeling good up in here. Jack Smith Day. And we are partying in the Shaw, 540 AM, the Shaw 101 FM right here in Waukesha, Wisconsin on Wisconsin Avenue. And we got a fine guest. He is running for the Assembly, District 24. That's just north of here. That's like the Grafton, Germantown area. The candidate's name is Bob Tatterson. He's a Democrat. He joins us right now live via phone. Bob, welcome to the Devil's Advocates.
Hey, Bob.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you now, Bob. Welcome to the show.
Perfect. Delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Bob, I'm looking at one of your campaign postcards. Interesting. Well done, sir. You've got some of your, let's call them some of your core beliefs, what you believe in. Bob, run some of those down for those listening.
Yeah, well, thanks. You know, I'm running because I really want to serve the needs and interests of our residents. And yeah, you called out. I've got some core things I'm focused on. I am all in on fully funding and supporting first responders. As a volunteer firefighter, I know how important that is to do. I want to make sure we have an economy that works for our families and our businesses alike. I want to strengthen some of the anti-corruption laws and really, you know, focus on transparency in government. And finally, you know, it's just vital that, you know, we restore women's reproductive rights here in Wisconsin.
And you've also got on this piece, I'm looking at fair maps. Obviously, you're running under the current maps, but it sure would be nice if we had a little fairer maps,
Right.
wouldn't it, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, as you may know, this district was redrawn a little more than a year ago, and it was the most incrementally gerrymandered district in that remapping process. So, yeah, I mean, we need to make sure that every voter has an opportunity for their vote to really count. And by, you know, artificially manipulating the maps, it takes away that. And, you know, my opponent, he's against fair maps. He's happy with the maps being drawn in a partisan way. I'd like to see maps being drawn more fairly.
Bob Tatterson, Assembly District 24 candidate. Bob's running as a Democrat. The election is coming up very, very soon. July 18th is election day. So, Bob, tell us about the district, the 24th. Looks like it includes Germantown, Grafton. Where do you live, and what can you tell us about the Fighting 24th?
Sure. Yeah, the 24th is unique. It is the Wow County district. So we've got portions of all three of the Wow counties. We've got Waukesha, Ozaukee, Washington. So I personally live in Mequon. So I was drawn into this district a year ago. So we have about half of Mequon in southern Ozaukee County. We've got all of the town and village of Grafton. And then over in Washington County, we've got all of Germantown. And then we've got about a third of Menominee Falls, sort of the northeastern portion of Menominee Falls. So it's a really kind of a Frankenstein district. They split two cities. They split Mequon and they split Menominee Falls. So again, back to the mapping. I mean, there's really no logic in cutting up some of these municipalities.
Folks, you are listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Got a fine candidate for Assembly District 24 special election coming up on July 18th. Bob Tatterson, he's running as a Democrat. Well, Bob, tell us about your political resume, your professional resume, your personal resume. What would make you a compelling candidate and a fine Assembly representative, sir?
Yes, thank you. I mean, politically, this is, I've never held elected office. As you may know, I did run last fall, running again, so first time to serve. Although I really believe in public service. I mentioned before, I used to be a volunteer firefighter. I serve on a lot of nonprofit boards, and I'm really trying to help strengthen our community around education and the arts. My background, I'm an engineer by training. Worked for several large corporations leading R&D, including Brady Corporation right here in Milwaukee. I led new product development there, as well as being an executive at GE. So I really know how to, get things done. Common sense problem solving is part of my corporate career. I know how to listen to all constituents, organize for action, and then get things done efficiently.
Bob, I appreciate you coming around, and I want to just share this a quick story. I came home earlier this week, and my wife, Steph, was filling out addresses on these postcards printed by, I think it was Grassroots North Shore. I'm like, baby, what are you doing? You're volunteering your time. It's very nice of you, but what's going on? She's like, there's an election. And of course, Bob, we do politics, and we know the person who previously held that seat is now a state senator, to my absolute disgust. He's my state senator, Bob. But I had totally spaced that there's a special election to fill that assembly seat. So I think it's very important to get people, to get them out there and to inform people that there is an election. And Bob, you're out there running for this. You sound like you're a great guy. You sound like you have a great education background. You sound like you care about the community and about women's rights and fair maps and transparency. And those are the kinds of things that certainly I think this audience can get behind. How are you? How's the campaign? How are you getting out there and getting people aware and getting them knowing that there's a special election going on? My concern, Bob, is we came so close. Jody Habush-Sinekin in the Wisconsin state election this last cycle. I mean, it was close. It was close. If a few more people came out, we would have had a different outcome. Bob, how's the outreach going, and what's the response been like?
Yeah, great. Yeah, thank your wife for me. It's all about grassroots. It's really the folks out there that have heard my story, that believe in what I'm doing, that are out there sharing the message. And that's really my strategy, is just to share my message with everyone in the district. I think, when you look at where I stand in terms of the values that I really hold dear, those are the values I think the majority of the folks in the district hold close to their heart. And we just need to keep sharing that information about the election, about where I stand, and how I align so strongly with really, I'm sure, the majority of the folks in the district.
Bob Tatterson, candidate for Assembly District 24. I'm sorry, Bob, I interrupted. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was just going to make just a quick contrast. My opponent, he's been pretty extreme. He's come out on paper, being a proponent of the extreme abortion bans, even suggesting criminal penalties for doctors who perform certain types of procedures. He stood up and supported, making Ozaukee County a Second Amendment sanctuary. We already have the Second Amendment. We don't need to clarify that the Second Amendment is in operation in Ozaukee County. And finally, he's on record of supporting cutting Medicaid, if you can believe that. I mean, a basic program that supports the people really in need. So pretty strong contrast between myself and my opponent.
Okay, Bob, you know how people are. If they don't get to know you a little bit, it's hard for them to support you, to vote for you, maybe write a few postcards like Dom's wife did. So, Bob, let's get to know you just a little bit here. Bob, you got kids? You got family? What's that look like for you, sir?
Oh, man. I've got kids that keep me. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in my life. Very busy guy. So obviously doing politics. I've got my work. I'll talk about my work for a moment, my family. But first, my family. I got a wonderful wife. Been married to her since I met her when I was 18, actually. So we've been together forever. You can do the math. I'm 58. But two boys. I've got one through college and off to work, and I've got one still in the house that just finished up his sophomore year at Homestead. So we're public school folks. And yeah, hobbies. I love watching sports. I love playing sports. I love doing stuff with my kids. So yeah, keep busy there. And then professionally, my current work. I left corporate America a few years ago, and I really wanted to work to create jobs right here in Wisconsin. So I basically work with small companies. I advise small companies, technology companies, and I invest in small companies. And I like to joke around that I think in the last 6 years, I've probably helped create more jobs than Foxconn.
That's a hard one. Okay, so on the sports level, let me ask you this little political angle on it. The Brewers Stadium needs some work. There's some debate about how that's going to happen. Do you have an opinion on how that should be funded, if at all, sir?
You know, I love the Brewers. My wife is an incredible baseball fan. I think the stadium's great. I have no opinion. I've not been following that too closely, and you know, that's out of my district. That's out of my field, out of my ballpark.
Okay, let me ask you a different but related question. Let's say you were to go to the Brewers game tonight, perhaps on the Civic Media WISS Oshkosh Air Support tickets. You would be at the PNC Club, and they have a nice full-service bar there. If you were having a cold adult beverage, designated driver getting you home, what are you drinking tonight, Bob?
Well, I mean, come on, we're in Wisconsin. I am a beer drinker. I will admit to that. So what I like is a beer with a lot of flavor, because then I can just nurse one all night. So a really, really, really hoppy IPA, like I think they have the Terrapin there. So yeah, a really intensely hoppy beer. That's why I go for.
Not a Bud Light guy, Bob?
No. Actually, I grew up near an Anheuser-Busch plant, but no, I'm a IPA guy.
Bob Tatterson, running for Wisconsin's Assembly District number 24. All right, Bob, let's broach in the next last 5 minutes that we have together here. The news of the day. It's Jack Smith Day. He's laid out apparently 37, maybe up to 38 counts against the former president. I want to get your take. What do you think that looks like for Republicans, or I mean, hell, I mean, obviously this is historical, Bob, for politics in general.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's historic, but honestly, you know, I don't really have a comment on that matter. I mean, it's a federal issue. I have, you know, not a state issue. I have full faith in our Justice Department. I mean, you know, the FBI, the Justice Department, these guys are straight shooters, and you know, we're going to let the legal process play out, and you know, I just support that everything be done properly, so everybody gets a fair chance to defend themselves.
And I can appreciate that, Bob. But bringing it back to like local level, you know, Knodel, the former, the seat that you are now running for was occupied by Knodel.
I know Dan Knodel well. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So then you know he was also a signator on the letter to Vice President Pence to try to get the electorate thrown back to the state assemblies so they can kind of hash it out here. To me, Bob, that's part of a bigger, I don't call it conspiracy, but it's certainly a plan by not only legislatures in the state of Wisconsin, but other states as well, under the guidance and and encouragement, perhaps, of Donald Trump's attorneys and his crew. What's your thought on that particular letter to the president to throw it back to the states? Is that something you think is appropriate for the now sitting state senator?
Yes, I was extremely clear last fall when I ran on that point. It was just unconscionable that letter was sent, that letter was written. And yeah, it basically asked Vice President Pence not to do his constitutional duty. And it was written and signed by, I think there were a total 16 or 18 sitting reps and senators for Wisconsin. So that there really is no excuse for that. You know, Knodel is an extremist. He's supported many extreme positions. I mean, frankly, there was a very careful analysis done of every vote he's ever taken. He was actually declared the most anti-human rights state legislator based on his voting record in the country. You can look that up on Google that.
Wow.
And yeah, he's my senator now, and you know, hopefully for 3 years from now, we'll be able to have an opportunity to replace him.
Bob Tatterson, running for Assembly District 24. That's July 18th when they have the special election. Bob, quickly answer, dog or cat family?
I grew up in a family that had cats and dogs and chickens and sheep and horses, but right now We just have a cat.
Just a cat.
It's
Well,
simple.
that's okay. And
Just
Bob,
a-
if people want to support your campaign, give them the website. Tell them how to do so.
Yeah, we had a nice website. It's easy to remember. It's my name, bobtatterson.com. So BOBTATTERSON.com.
It's in your name, sir. Do you have any tattoos, Bob?
None that are visible. No, I am tattoo free. It seems to be there was a point in time where I think everyone had tattoos, but somehow I didn't get one.
That you're talking about on the radio today. Good luck, Bob. Have a wonderful weekend. Candidate Bob Tatterson, Assembly District 24. He's the Dem. Go vote July 18th.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, guys.
Strategy includes your hopes and dreams. What matters most to you? For over 100 years, Thriveman has helped clients like you find financial solutions for life's important goals. Explore a full range of options, from financial advice and investments to insurance, banking, and generosity programs. To have a heart-to-heart about your finances, contact Mandy Roberts, who you may recognize as Mandy Wright. Call her at 715-470-1303. 715-470-1303. Mandy Roberts proudly serves the central Wisconsin area. For more details, visit theriven.com/disclosure.
The Brandy Old Fashioned is Wisconsin's official cocktail. How do you go about making yours a little official-er? Mix in Wisconsin's own Drink Wisconsin Blee Brandy. It's smooth, it's delicious, and it's bottled right here in Wisconsin, giving your Brandy Old Fashioned even more local flavor. And what about those times you're out and about and don't want to bring along a muddler in a glass? Drink Wisconsin Blee's got you covered then, too, with their Brandy Old Fashioned in a can. Enjoy Wisconsin's quintessential cocktail anywhere. Ask for Drink Wisconsin Blee beverages where brandy is served or sold. Remember to think responsibly when you drink Wisconsin Blee. Drink Wisconsin Blee Beverage Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Todd Alba Show.
We'll be moving to the afternoon, Monday through Friday, 1 until 3. Trygve Olson has graciously agreed to follow us into the afternoon. We're going to get to talk about the Lincoln Project and politics in Wisconsin, all across the state of Wisconsin.
I know, isn't that exciting? Where the beer is cold, the cheese curds are squeaky, the Harleys roar, the Eagles soar, and the Packers score, Todd.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekday afternoons from 1 till 3 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Here's your Mad Radio forecast. 58 tonight, under partly cloudy skies, west winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Cloudy skies tomorrow, highs level off around 82. Cloudy skies expected again tomorrow night. Scattered thunderstorms likely, lows level off around 53. Much cooler Sunday and Monday, with highs in the upper 60s. Scattered showers possible both days. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 80 degrees.
This summer, Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX has a new starting lineup. At 10, as goes Wisconsin. Then at noon, Civic Media Network News. On Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX.
The Devil's Advocates. Sausage making never looked so good.
And welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Thank you for sticking around. Maggie Dawn coming up at the 5 o'clock happy hour. You can join us on the lines 844-967-2789.
Dominic, want to thank our most recent guest, a new friend of this show, Bob Tatterson, a candidate, Assembly District 24, special election coming up July 18th. That is to fill the Canodal vacancy. Grafton, Germantown, parts of Mequon. Are you listening?
That's you folks. Get out there. Vote for Bob. Sharp, came on I didn't pre-interview him. We emailed back and forth a little bit.
Does
Bob,
anybody do pre-interviews?
We not a whole lot these days. But new friend. Sounds like a very sharp guy. Folks, please make a point. If you're in the area, if you're in Wisconsin's Assembly District 24, and you're gonna go vote, that's great. Go vote. But bring someone with you. Literally do that. If we'd have done that for Jody when she ran for that state Senate seat, she'd be the senator right now. So
Jody Habish, Senate instead of Canodal. I would see the preference there.
Yes, indeed. So do what you can. We do appreciate it. Do your civic duty, then do a little bit more.
Vote early and often. 844-967-2789. We'll get to your Friday grievances. Just be patient. Madame, I want to point out Jack Smith Day, celebrated nationwide. Well, some of us are.
Yeah?
Some of us are taking a different reaction to the Devil's Advocates count of 38-point indictment Other media outlets calling it a 37-point indictment, but we correct the record, a 38-point indictment. And a couple of Trumpists, they're kind of losing their you-know-what, Tom. Far right Arizona rep demands an for an after the Trump indictment.
I totally agree. If any president or anybody gets, caught with top secret, super secret, nuclear, wartime, whatever kind of plans that they shouldn't have, they should absolutely be prosecuted to the full extent of the law for putting our national security in jeopardy. And of course, if they're trying to obstruct to get away with it, they should be charged with that as well. I concur.
And hang Mike Pence for good measure. Here's the reporting at the Raw story. A far-right Arizona congressman on Friday appeared to call for unrest in an incendiary social media post. Rep. Andy Biggs, rep from Arizona, said, "We've reached a war phase," as prosecutors unsealed. It says a 37-count indictment, but we at the Devil's Advocates have corrected the record, the math. It's a 38-count indictment against former President Donald Trump in connection with the handling of the classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate. Special counsel Jack Smith. Oh, and we've got some sound. I've never heard the man speak. We're going to play it for you in happy hour. We're going to bring Maggie Dawn, our legal eagle, on. But Jack Smith unsealed the charges Friday. Made my whole weekend on. "We've now reached a war phase," Biggs tweeted. For an Biggs, in a social media post earlier on Friday, echoed the former president's allegation that Trump is the victim of a political persecution. "The Biden administration is weaponizing our federal police apparatus to target their political opponent.
Come on.
Even worse, their move comes as soon as we unveiled that both Joe and Hunter received $5 million from a foreign entity. This is exactly what an authoritarian regime looks like." Now, I turned on right-wing talk radio, the nationally syndicated, the Buck and the Clay. This is the tack they're also taking, that the Biden administration has weaponized the DOJ.
Well, I mean, yeah, I get it. That's what they're going to say. But, here's the actuality of it, right? A grand jury was convened, a grand jury of regular U.S. citizens. They were presented with evidence. And granted, there's no cross-examination when that evidence is presented. They say you can indict a ham sandwich. This is not the Biden administration per se. This was a bunch of regulars off the street that Jack said, "Hey, look what this guy's doing." They're like, "Damn, indictment." And they came down with it. And he's going to be put on trial in front of a jury of his peers. And those regular U.S. citizens doing their duty will make that determination in Florida, of all places.
In Cannon's courtroom. Eileen
yes.
Cannon caught that case.
She caught it. I don't think she's going to keep it.
Perhaps in just the preliminary phases. She was the one that set out the special master and got bitch slapped by her own appellate branch. I mean, they went beyond we disagree. They're like, "You're flouting the law."
Right, and she was doing it for Trump because she was a Trump appointee. So
still is.
These regular folks that were
she would also
the
handle
grand jury,
the sentencing.
These regular folks in the grand jury, not Joe Biden, not Hunter Biden. They came down with this. And the jury is not going to be Joe Biden or Hunter Biden. They'll listen to the evidence and they'll make their determination based on the facts. So, I mean, I appreciate the fist pumping, but that's not how it works. None of those people in that grand jury are Joe Biden. Morons.
844-967-2789. Want to hear your Friday grievances? Wisco Paul, welcome to it.
Hey, Paulie.
Hey, good afternoon. Dom, your wish finally came true. He did get indicted. I don't know if he's going to go to prison or not, but it's a happy Friday because this means that nobody is above the law, I don't think. Is that what this means, Dom? Nobody's above the law?
That's what it means. That's what we strive for, Paul. And I'm not down for persecution, man. I don't like Trump, but I don't want anybody getting, persecuted by, an unjust Justice Department.
Defund the police.
But that's
starting with the FBI.
That's not what this is, Paul. I mean, Trump had every opportunity to comply, to return, to do things, and he willfully did not. And then he took steps to hide it. So yeah, man. I mean, it's what did Mitt Romney, former Republican nominee for president, say? This is of his own making, Wisco.
Well, thank you, Dom, for that answer, and it should be a happy day for you and Crudy both. Hey, I just got one quick one. If you were threatened to be hung by your own political party, I'm referring to Pence, would you actually run? I mean, I might run, but I don't think I'd run for president. So anyway, you guys, great show.
If Mother said I must,
then I must. Thanks, Paul.
Maybe Mother's very ambitious. You never can tell.
I think we got 1 minute left in this segment. Catherine from Madison, we'll squeeze you in. Thank you, Catherine. What do you got?
Hi, Catherine.
Hi, I've got a quick one, and it's something that's bothered me for a long time, and that's I'm wondering why they don't have a list, or if a list is kept like a library does when you check out a book. Does somebody somewhere in government know what's been checked out and what exactly is missing? Like, do they know how many things?
Yes.
You know.
And in fact, Trump was
It's
caught on
driving me
tape
crazy.
talking about a document that has not yet been returned, Catherine.
Yeah, and why did he get this far without anybody, you know, I mean, I think that should have come from the people that keep the records, to tell you the truth.
Well, Catherine, it's coming from Special Counselor Jack Smith.
Well, it started with the records, but then it evolved into this because of the way Trump handled himself.
They're my records. I took them fair and square.
They're my boxes. I don't want them in my boxes.
The very talented Maggie Dawn. Legal Eagle, our friend, she joins us for the Happier Happy Hour. Jack Smith Day up in here. We're celebrating.
Find out what's going on in the world, the state, and in your own backyard. This is a Civic Media Network News Update.
It's 5 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. The smoke from the Canadian wildfires has moved on from Wisconsin, but experts say they're worried about the long-term impacts. Edwin J. Vieira reports.
According to the Environmental Protection Agency, they can be as minor as eye and respiratory tract irritation to worsening asthma and even causing heart failure. Karina Newsom with the National Wildlife Federation notes climate change could make this a regular occurrence.
With there being more frequent, more intense, longer burning wildfires and of course natural movement of air, we can absolutely expect to see wildfire smoke being a more frequent experience.
And humans aren't the only ones feeling the effects of smoky skies. Wildlife is compromised through loss of habitat, food, and water sources. I'm Edwin J. Vieira.
A new study says fentanyl is the #1 killer of people ages 25 to 54 in Wisconsin. That's according to Forward Analytics, the research arm of the Wisconsin Counties Association. More than 4,300 people died from fentanyl between 2015 and 2021 in Wisconsin. Fentanyl kills twice as many young people in Wisconsin as car crashes and more older people than liver disease. People working to change Wisconsin's gerrymandered political map say they're hopeful after yesterday's U.S. Supreme Court ruling striking down Alabama's congressional map for disenfranchising black voters. Mike Moen has more.
The outcome is reverberating in states where redistricting has been a thorny issue.
Wisconsin is among them, and Greg Lewis of the group Souls to the Polls Wisconsin says the ruling gives credibility to arguments that marginalized populations often lack a political voice because of the way voting districts are drawn.
This scorched earth politics, this win at any cost, must stop. It has to be fair for everyone, not just a few.
Those calling for fair maps in Wisconsin were already hopeful after April's state Supreme Court race. The outcome saw liberals secure a majority among justices. Republicans, who have led redistricting efforts in Wisconsin, have long denied that they rely on a skewed approach. I'm Mike Moen.
Wisconsin Republicans are still looking for a candidate for U.S. Senate. Congressman Mike Gallagher says today he will not run. He says he wants to stay in Congress to keep leading the House Select Committee on China. He'd have to give up that chairmanship to run for higher office. Gallagher was one of the Republican Party's top choices to challenge Democrat Tammy Baldwin next year. And here's why you should check your email spam folder. The University of Wisconsin women's hockey team got an invitation to the White House after winning the national championship in March, but nobody in Madison saw it. After the president's people reached out a second time, the race was on. I'm Terry Bell.
You see anything that can critique, I can help with their game, anything I critique to help them be better. That's all I aim for, to see a lot of guys do great and be successful in this league.
That's Packers outside linebacker Preston Smith. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Friday Jack Smith Happy Hour National Sex Day Edition. Welcome to it. We got Dominic. We got Maggie Dunn, Milwaukee County Corporate Counsel, our legal eagle, and host of the Maggie Dunn Show. I almost called it by the old name. We're here in the Shaw. When I heard Maggie Dunn was coming in studio, working on a Friday just to cover this big indictment, I got in the car and I've said, I'm partying with those cowboys. I am very, very excited. And Maggie Dunn, Dom and I, being the fine newsmen that we were, reported in hour number one the 38 count indictment. And I see the media is widely reporting 37 counts. And I thought I heard you say something about 37 counts, but correct the record, if you would, please, for us, Maggie. How many counts of this big indictment against the former president?
Yeah, there's 38. It's interesting, like the documents laid out really interestingly, because at the
end... You have
crosstabs. Oh, yeah. The whole thing is tabbed. I could take, if you're watching us, I could take a law school exam on this puppy right now. Yeah, the count 37, it cuts off at the end of the page, and then there's all this blank space. And I think people just stopped page turning. But if you do, on page 42 of the PDF, indeed, it says count 38 at the top.
False statements and representation.
That's exactly right.
Well, thankfully, the Devil's Advocates caught it first.
Sure did. Cheating off the homework, guys.
You know,
always, Maggie, always.
You implied that we even started doing the homework. I didn't even print off the indictment. You got crosstabs and notes and highlighter. So, Maggie, before we really jump into the heart of this matter, we do have the special counselor. And I mean, can I just say publicly, I've never seen the man smile. Like, he is badass. This guy just looks like the kind of guy I want prosecuting this case. And B, I've never heard his voice. So let's do so. I believe we've got this. E-Bone, gonna need your help. Let's play the special counselor. What cut number one?
Our laws that protect national defense information are critical to the safety and security of the United States, and they must be enforced. Violations of those laws put our country at risk.
A little too plain spoken. I wish he had like a menacing vigilante tone.
No, man, that's exactly what we want. Because, of course, Republicans are going to say he's menacing anyway. A little more Jack Smith today. Historic is Jack Smith Day. Cut to, please, Evan.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with felony violations of our national security laws, as well as participating in a conspiracy to obstruct justice.
I mean, the wording here is really interesting. First of all, he just calls him Donald J. Trump. He does not call him former President Donald J. Trump. This is a man that's going to be prosecuted. And he doesn't say some weird legal easy term about exactly, these National Archives documents. No, he just says for violating our national securities laws. This is not a case about documents. This is a case about a man whom we've all known from day one only cares about himself, literally engaging in an intentional, multi-week decision-making tree that, and then asked his body man basically to move the documents and then lied about it repeatedly. And it's on tape. He knew exactly what he had.
You act like that's
crazy.
Problematic.
Right, what?
Like that'll get you indicted 38 times over.
Let's hear more. Jack Smith. Who was he indicted by? Joe Biden. If you ask the Republicans, no, says Jack Smith. Cut 3, please.
This indictment was voted by a grand jury of citizens in the Southern District of Florida. And I invite everyone to read it in full, to understand the scope and the gravity of the crimes charged.
I didn't hear President Biden in there at all.
Yeah, special counselor, huh? I'm going to make a confession on behalf of the panel. We have not read the indictment, but we got Maggie. Maggie Dawn, our legal eagle. She's read the indictment. She's got crosstabs. A couple more from the special counselor, Jack Smith. He is innocent until proven guilty. Cut 4.
Very important for me to note that the defendants in this case must be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law.
Yeah, but as a private citizen, I can assume the worst, can I not, Maggie?
What is the percentage of these kinds of cases brought by a federal prosecutor that end up not being convictions or pleas?
It's got to be very small. You don't engage a prosecution like this with these stakes without knowing that you've got this in the bag. And I think the indictment, you were talking about his demeanor, right? I wrote on the top of it, like literally the very first thing that I wrote on this entire document was very no nonsense.
Yeah.
Right? It was just, you read this and it almost makes it boring, right? Like this is, the stuff that a John le Carré novel was based on, and it's happening. Like this happened, and here's Jack Smith. It's like, and on Tuesday, April 12th, it's just so Sergeant Friday.
So very business-like. One more from Jack Smith on Jack Smith Day. Cut number 5, please, Evan.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone. Applying those laws, collecting facts, that's what determines the outcome of an investigation. Nothing more and nothing less.
Nothing more, nothing less. Maggie, he also didn't just indict the former president. He also indicted Walt. But Walt is not the former president. Walt's what? The valet.
The pool boy?
The valet.
The bag man, right?
Get my galoshes.
But isn't that kind of telling? Here is a, low-level whoever Walt is, also being charged at the same time as the former president.
I just have to say, you strip all of the partisanship out of this for a second and you look at this. Forget that it was Donald Trump. What if it was just Walt? Right? And what if it was Hillary Clinton's valet?
Right.
Right? Not only would Walt be charged, so would Hillary Clinton, and everyone would be calling for her execution.
Lock her up. Lock her up.
So this is pretty extraordinary that there was a decision to not just indict the president, but also to indict the everyman, like the guy that just did his job. It's like, sure, I'll show up with like a shovel and a bag of lye and a tarp or two. What body?
I never dug a hole.
Right. I just dug a hole. Right. I mean, so, and the facts as to Mr. Nuuta are quite compelling in the indictment as well. I mean, there's no question that they understood exactly what was going on. So in case you miss it, I don't want to forget to say this. Basically, they took 60 boxes from Mar-a-Lago to the house, and they only brought 34 back. Right? Like, that's it. Like, it's like, it's very dry, and it's just sort of in these 4 paragraphs. But it's like, yep, 64 boxes went from Mar-a-Lago to the Trump residence, and only 30 came back. And the interesting thing is he's only charged with 31 counts of retention, right? But 31 counts of the stuff that they're talking about here sure doesn't sound like 36 or 26 boxes of documents. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's this unspoken math that's in there, that there was a lot.
Speak it for us, because we're not doing the math with you.
Right? That there was a volume of boxes that were never returned and that no one knows where they are. And yet they only identify 31 specific instances of retention. My implication is that they're saying there may very well have been distribution of these materials. They may be gone and we do not know where they are.
Oh.
So they didn't charge distribution because they don't know.
Correct. It was not dissemination is technically the word, but
right.
Dissemination means distribution of these national secrets, right?
Maggie Dawn, you were on the air on the Maggie Dawn show last night, and my phone started blowing up, and I, like many others, went immediately to you on the radio. And sister, you were laying it down. You were killing it. Great radio. Obviously, the subject matter helps, but the expertise of the hostess was great. And I really enjoyed the commentary you gave. I told poor Joel Clayfish last night he had his Raised in the Wisco show, and it was his birthday.
Oh,
and he's
happy
sitting
birthday,
right here
Joel.
in the Waukesha studios.
Yeah.
And he was very proud of the radio he made. He had his daughters in here. He had former Lieutenant Governor, his wife, Rebecca Clayfish, making faces at him in the window.
Oh, that's fun.
And he said, Crudy, did you hear it? It was so much fun. I said, no, Joel, the former president got indicted. I flipped on MSNBC, fella. And I watched for hours and hours and hours. And it was just other legal opinions, but they all seemingly arrived at the very same conclusion. Trump's goose is cooked.
It's bad. I mean,
so
let me describe the documents. Okay. So
she's turning to crosstab 17 here.
For real.
For those
For real.
keeping score at home.
Yeah. Here's what. So they defined the security classifications and they describe general subject matter of the documents, but they never tell you what country they're talking about. It's always generically as to a foreign country. But here's what.
We used to call them Persians.
Right. Various foreign countries briefings related to, and here we go. Document dated June 2020 concerning nuclear capabilities of a foreign country. Document dated October 21, 2018 concerning communication with leader of a foreign country. And then it's got dates and military capabilities of a foreign country. Plans regarding military attacks by a foreign country. It's all military contingency planning. Document concerning projected regional military capabilities of a foreign country and the United States. This is what this man withheld. There's 31 documents. There's a whole lot of boxes. We don't know where they are, folks. This man has been a national security threat since the moment he announced his presidency on the golden escalator. Wow.
I know. We should call this edition Mission Accomplished. Jack Smith, it's all up to you and Maggie Dawn and you to keep listening. Come back, more Devils.
All things art, beer, and community with Working Draft Beer. Established in 2018, they brew award-winning European-style lagers, fresh hop forward American IPAs, and much more. Located in the heart of Madison's East Side and open 7 days a week at 1129 Wilson Street. For more information and to find out what's on tap, go to workingdraftbeer.com. That's workingdraftbeer.com. Or check them out on Facebook and Instagram at Working Draft Beer.
Have you noticed that some people seem happier and are more fun to be around? Wish you had that vibe? Step into Cosmic Delights and immerse yourself in a world of transformation. From crystals and herbs to candles, jewelry, and books, Cosmic Delights has all your favorite tools and treasure for blissful living. Now with 2 locations, 2717 East Washington Avenue or the new spot at 638 South Gammon Road. Also at CosmicDelights.com. Cosmic Delights, where happiness and harmony become reality.
The Todd Alba Show.
We'll be moving to the afternoon, Monday through Friday, 1 until 3. Trigger Olson has graciously agreed to follow us into the afternoon. We're going to get to talk about the Lincoln Project and politics in Wisconsin, all across the state of Wisconsin.
I know, isn't that exciting? Where the beer is cold, the cheese curds are squeaky, the Harleys roar, the Eagles soar, and the Packers score, Todd.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekday afternoons from 1 till 3 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Here's your Mad Radio forecast. 58 tonight, under partly cloudy skies, west winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Cloudy skies tomorrow, highs level off around 82. Cloudy skies expected again tomorrow night. Scattered thunderstorms likely, lows level off around 53. Much cooler Sunday and Monday with highs in the upper 60s. Scattered showers possible both days. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 80 degrees.
This summer, Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX has a new starting lineup. 12:15 Town Call. 1 p.m. The Todd Alba Show on Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX.
The Devil's Advocates. Never personal, only politics.
And welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Maggie, Dawn, our pals, sticking around for the entire hour. We'll take your calls as well, 844-967-2789. Okay, go ahead, Crudy.
Well, I just want to confess. It is a little personal with Trump.
Is it? It's
A little.
It's not personal. I mean, I have nothing personally against the man. Whatever. But his actions.
Come on. His whole existence is offensive.
Sure. Yes. But I mean, so
I
there's
can't
lots of
take that
people-
personally.
I mean, you can, but then you can take a lot of things personally. And I don't take it too personally.
I'm confessing, for me and Maggie, we're rooting against the guy.
Oh, I am as well. Here's a little bit from the indictment from Jack Smith. After his presidency, Trump retained classified documents originated by or implicating the equities of multiple USIC, those are intelligence agencies, members or other executive branch departments and agencies, including. So here's some of the docs he kept from these agencies. Here's like documents kept from the CIA, the Department of Defense, the National Security Agency. He kept documents from the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
That's the UFO people.
The
Is it
National
really?
Reconnaissance Office, the Department of Energy. He kept
Of course
documents
he
from the
did.
Department of State and the Bureau of Intelligence and Research. He kept lots of things. And as mentioned, Maggie, the retention we know of, the dissemination we don't know. Apparently, there could be boxes, should be maybe boxes of stuff that's gone to the wind.
Yeah, the math doesn't add up. Here's one of this is document 16, dated December 2019, concerning foreign country support of terrorist acts against U.S. interests. I mean, just some light Sunday evening reading. Undated document concerning nuclear weaponry of the United States.
No one knows the horrors of nuclear better than I. Now, Donald Trump is a moron. So what is he doing with nuclear secrets after he's no longer the president, after he's been asked by the government to return them nicely many times, after they sent a subpoena, after they searched his residence?
And here's the thing. What the indictment lays out in this painstaking detail with text messages is that Donald Trump was the one deciding which boxes stayed and which boxes went.
Oh.
Like there's literally a moment where you're reading it and you can see in your mind's eye the great orange man's sitting on the ground, like rifling through a box between his legs because he wouldn't let anybody else do it. Like, it's very specific. Let me see if I can find. So there's a scene described where it's like days to when Corcoran is going to show up to go through the documents.
Right. Okay. His attorney.
Right. And his attorney has told him, like, no one else can do this. I am the only one that can do this. We have to swear out a sworn certification saying that we gave the government back all of the documents. So it's very clear that Trump knows that Corcoran himself is going to go through these documents. And so it's two of his lackeys, including this Nauda, texting back and forth, right? And the other one asks Walt, hey, can you get some fresh box lids up here, stat?
I need some box lids, stat.
Because POTUS is concerned that the ones that they have too much writing on them.
Yes, it's top secret. Do not
Right?
touch
Like,
for your eyes
no,
only.
like, don't give back to the FBI, right? Like, I can just picture, they had too much writing on them. Like, that detail to me was just so telling, right? And then they describe at one point where this Nauda is asked to move boxes onto the airplane that's waiting to fly from Mar-a-Lago to Bedminster. And then the indictment goes on to point out that Trump delayed going to Bedminster so that he could supervise Corcoran as he went through the documents.
Why? And there's also some texting back and forth between Walt and one of the Trump family members regarding that trip. It was like Memorial Day of last
yes, it's
year.
Clearly the missus.
The missus, yes, ma'am. He says, ma'am.
Yes,
so
it's clearly the missus.
So the question is, why would Donald Trump be unpacking, like taking them out of the boxes, according to the text stream, that he would take them out of the boxes and take the documents with him? I mean, this is not his
when his
security
lawyer is about
blanket.
to get there to go through all of the documents to give the federal government the top secret documents back. Like, there's just no denying precisely what went on here. And that is Donald Trump asked his, faithful manservant to hide top secret documents about the U.S. potentially being in nuclear war
Yeah, that's
with
really
some of our most dangerous enemies.
That's the valuable stuff.
Yeah. And like hid that stuff from the federal government.
How did I get totally blocked out of this conversation?
You started spacing out.
I'm going to talk to Dana in La Crosse, listening on the Eagle 1490 AM. Dana, welcome to the political party. Happy Jack Smith Day.
Hey, Dana.
Happy Jack Smith Day indeed. How y'all doing?
Good.
Really good.
Fair to middling or better.
Good. Hey, I kind of got a question for Maggie, if she knows. So regarding all these missing documents that obviously I think we probably have a pretty good idea what might have happened. But what can we do about finding out what happened with those? I mean, do you foresee them possibly making a deal with him to, just tell us where everything is?
Do we need the documents back that badly? Enough to give up some of the future prison time for the former?
I don't know if they know what it is, right? Right.
Or worse.
I object.
He's not your quiet counselor.
You don't know what you don't know, right? Like, and somebody was talking about, like, don't they have a log of who takes stuff? Like, yes, but no, that's not really how this stuff works. Like, it's in hard copy. There's just a volume of this stuff that moves through a White House in a day is just crushing.
Dana, sorry, won't see you at the big RPW convention. I think we're being discriminated against. See, the Republicans sent back our check.
For real?
For realsies. 100. Come back, stick around.
Chickens.
More with Maggie Dawn and perhaps you. 844-96-PARTY.
The winners. Winners get to do what they want.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Right, DJ. Right away.
WMDX has a new starting lineup. Beginning at 6, Up North News. Then at 8, The Stephanie Miller Show. On Mad Radio, 92.7
ABC News.
WMDX.
I'm Chuck Severson. Tales of the criminal indictment against former President Trump over his handling of classified documents, unsealed today by the Justice Department. Special counsel Jack Smith says laws that protect national defense information are critical to national security and must be enforced. ABC's Josh Margolin says Trump is facing 38 counts that include willful retention of documents, conspiracy, and false statements.
This indictment talks about the intentional efforts to stop an investigation, to lie to investigators, to withhold secret records with secret information that have critical national defense stuff in there. And then when he was asked to return them, in order to keep them safe, he refused, and he tried to obstruct the efforts of the FBI to get those records back.
The prime suspect in the disappearance of Natalie Holloway made his first court appearance after being extradited from Peru. Joran Vandersloot pleads not guilty. This is ABC News.
Your home for local news, weather, and sports across the airwaves and always streaming on the Civic Media app.
For Civic Media News, I'm Terry Bell. Here's what you need to know in South Central Wisconsin. People working to change gerrymandered political maps in Wisconsin say they're hopeful after yesterday's U.S. Supreme Court ruling striking down Alabama's congressional map for disenfranchising black voters.
This scorched earth politics, this win at any cost, must stop. It has to be fair for everyone, not just a few.
Greg Lewis is executive director of Souls to the Polls, Wisconsin. A judge is slashing the bail for a man accused of killing a woman in a drunk driving hit-and-run crash on Madison's northeast side on May 20th. Judge Nicholas McNamara set Anthony Moore's bail at $100,000 at his preliminary hearing, but Judge David Conway cut it to $15,000 yesterday. I'm Terry Bell, and this is Civic Media News.
All
always an ahooga of a good time when you stop in at Ahooga Brewing Company in downtown Beaver Dam. Ahooga's atmosphere in a former auto shop is welcoming to all with a 7-barrel brew house, events, music, and a pet-friendly patio. It's also the home of Hala Jalapeno Cream Ale, a World Beer Cup gold medal winner. Learn more at ahoogabrewing.com. That's OOGA Brewing.com. Ahooga Brewing Company, 301 South Spring Street, part of Beaver Dam's vibrant downtown.
Does your financial strategy include your hopes and dreams? What matters most to you? For over 100 years, Thriven has helped clients like you find financial solutions for life's important goals. Explore a full range of options, from financial advice and investments to insurance, banking, and generosity programs. To have a heart-to-heart about your finances, contact Mandy Roberts, who you may recognize as Mandy Wright. Call her at 715-470-1303. 715-470-1303. Mandy Roberts proudly serves the central Wisconsin area. For more details, visit thriven.com/disclosure.
Attention, Wisconsin veterans.
Hello, I'm Tony Evers, the Governor of Wisconsin. If you are veterans struggling to pay for rent, utilities, or other life-sustaining services, I want you to know that the Veterans Rental Assistance Program is here to help. You have already made a most noble sacrifice. You shouldn't have to continue doing so. We are here to support you. The Veterans Rental Assistance Program was created by people living in Wisconsin, with benefit approvals being issued to veterans that just we want you to know that we're here for you. Call 833-WIS-VRAP. That's 833-947-8727. Or visit vrapwi.com. On behalf of the state of Wisconsin.
The Devil's Advocates. Radio for nasty women everywhere.
Freedom isn't free. It calls folks like you
here. I wonder how Joe's taking it. Joe Giangotti, my guest last Friday. Mediocre Joe, I mean regular Joe. I wonder how he's taking the news that the man that he believes quite a bit in is under indictment. 38 counts according to the Devil's Advocates math.
Stop.
We got to find guests. She's pretty good at math as well. She's Maggie Dawn, Milwaukee County Corporate Counselor by day. Super cool radio host right here on Civic Media by late afternoon, 6 to 7 p.m.
Last night.
But normally not Fridays. But you made a special trip down to the Waukesha studio.
You,
I'm here, Dom's here, and Maggie Dawn's here. It is a Friday political party for Jack Smith. Celebrating Jack Smith Day. You can still join us. Join this party, 844-967-2789. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the indictment I have not read, let me ask you, politically speaking, in your opinion, Maggie Dawn, does this hurt the former president? And I don't mean in the general. I mean with the base. I have a weird hunch that this could actually strengthen him with the MAGA base.
Oh, that was my first thought, right? Immediately I went, okay, well, he's going to fundraise a bunch off of this, right? And keep in mind, one of the criminal investigations into him is basically the lie that he told about the election was effectively mail fraud, right? For all intents and purposes.
Hundreds of millions of dollars he raised. Yes.
So here we go again, dear friends, because of course this is going to galvanize his base. Like that's why you see all the 2024 presidential candidates. I went and pulled some of their quotes from today are just all over the place in how to react to this, right?
Do you have a few examples for us?
Yeah.
Wait. I want to hear from Tiny D, Ron DeSantis. Not a guy that celebrates National Sex Day, I understand,
As long as his wife says thigh, right? Ron DeSantis said that the litmus test for finding his spouse was that they'd go to a Thai restaurant and he'd refer to it as Thai food. And if they corrected him, they were done. That's how he selected his mate.
He's digging deep, isn't he?
It really,
very,
truly.
Very complex man.
So Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida.
I'm not a thigh man.
Right. Ron DeSantis of Florida and Vivek Ramaswamy, a wealthy entrepreneur and author, came out strongly in support of Mr. Trump on Thursday, while former governor of Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson, was far more critical, calling for Trump to leave the race. Chris Christie basically called on Americans to withhold judgment until the facts are known. Pence, who's shown some movement in his stance, his willingness to criticize to criticize the president, said he was withholding his own conclusions while trying to put the onus on the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, to silence those in the Republican Party who believe the charges are political and without merit.
Come on, the fly on his head has shown more movement.
Right? Quote, you need to stand up and explain to us why this was necessary before the sun sets today, Mr. Pence said in New Hampshire, addressing Mr. Garland. Quote, the American people deserve to know the basis of this unprecedented action. Like, yeah, that's the indictment. Did you read it, Mike?
Right.
I mean, I did. It's kind of important. Take a minute, Mike, page through it, peruse the evidence that is presented therein before you call something like this unprecedented. Because in fact, it's not. And that's sort of the point, isn't it? That people get prosecuted for this stuff all the time. If you believe Edward Snowden is a criminal and treasonous at that, then you have to indict and convict Donald Trump. It's the same thing. If you think Chelsea Manning was a traitor, then so is Donald Trump. But not just a traitor in that perhaps one can make an argument that those two individuals acted in some sort of misguided sense of obligation of transparency.
Or greater good of some
Correct.
sort, right?
You can't make that argument here. He knew what he was doing. They have him on tape saying so. And here's one of the interesting things in the indictment. I would call it the only bit of the indictment that is at all a little bit Jack Smith going, nah. I've got you. It's the two little pieces of rhetorical flourish, because you could have written this without them. And he includes in two places Trump, in his own words, condemning those who play fast and loose with classified information. Right? So he's calling him a
using
hypocrite.
His words against him.
Indeed.
Well, he indicted him 38 times over, according to our math, Maggie. So he's also calling him a criminal.
Yes. Here's some of the statements that Jack Smith included in the indictment. So this is Trump saying these things. In my administration,
Can
I'm
you
going
do
to
the Trump voice?
No, because that's dumb. In my administration, I'm going to enforce all the laws concerning the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law. Quote, we also need to fight this battle by collecting intelligence and then protecting our classified interests. We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified. That is Donald Trump on September 6th, 2016. On September 7th, 16.
That doesn't even sound like him. It sounds way too
it's
coherent.
It's too cogent.
Right.
Quote, one of the first things we must do is enforce all classification rules and to enforce all laws relating to the handling of classified information.
Well, if that's the case, Jack Smith is just doing exactly what Donald Trump wanted him to do. Okay.
Correct. I mean, what? That's just... He's pointing out that this guy is completely hypocritical. Here's this. On February 16th, 2017, 4 years before Trump's disclosures of classified information set forth above, this is paragraph 36, Trump said at a press conference, quote, the first thing I thought of when I heard about this was, how does the press get this information that's classified? How do they do it? You know why? Because it's an illegal process. And the press should be ashamed of themselves. But more importantly, the people that gave out the information to the press should be ashamed of themselves. Really ashamed. The two scenarios that the president is charged with, that Jack Smith is saying we have direct evidence of, is not just evidence that he retained the information because he had it, right? And his lawyers had to turn it over. But it's where Trump is on tape or by his lawyer's own notes showing classified information to who? The press. Okay, those are the two instances.
Well, it's not against the law to be a hypocrite, maybe Dawn, right? So why does Jack Smith put these in here?
Because it shows that he was so cavalier that it wasn't to someone in his innermost circle, which one must assume happened all the time.
It wasn't locker room talk per se. This was his common thread.
Yes, it was with someone to whom he has vowed his entire life to take down, a member of that liberal elite media. That's who he showed this stuff to.
and it's on tape, and he was knowingly being recorded. So the man is a national walking security threat. Remember one of the first meetings he ever took in the Oval Office?
The Sturgeys.
Yes, he gave up classified information on videotape to ambassadors to Russia.
I forget, was that before or after he fired Comey to relieve the Russia
pressure? Folks, you're
Right?
listening to the Devil's Advocates. Maggie Dawn joining us. You can join us 844-967-2789, specifically to former Vice President Mike Pence. Yes, this is extraordinary. But we heard the press conference. Donald Trump broke national security laws. And all you Republicans out there, all you patriots, right? Country first, MAGA. If you're MAGA and you find out someone's breaking national security laws, how do you reconcile that with your beliefs? And of course, the conspiracy to obstruct justice. I mean, that's every day for Donald Trump. He doesn't know how to do it any other way. And here's a little bit, then we'll get to the callers. Once again, 844-967-2789. Page 21. On May 23rd of 2022, Trump met with attorney number 1 and 2 at the Mar-a-Lago to discuss the response of the May 11th subpoena.
They can't name them because they might also be criminally indicted at this point, right?
And
we
former
know
counsel.
Corcoran's.
We know that attorney number 1 is Corcoran. This is the guy that made the detailed notes that he recorded and that we know has been presented in front of the grand jury.
And as a side note, his 2 other lawyers also quit today or were replaced, or with a law firm to be named in the future.
Yes. So actually heard someone who was doing media commentary say, I actually feel a little bit sad for the president today because he had to issue a statement saying that he's going to hire some crackerjack lawyers just as soon as he figures out who they are.
I hear we cheat them in how. It's in the phone book, and they're taking new clients right now.
It's Dewey Cheatham and
Oh, my.
Get the joke right, Mike. Jeez.
Trump attorney
You know
1,
I like be corrected on the air, right?
especially on the jokes, and Trump attorney 2
or any other topic.
The attorneys told Trump they needed to search for the documents that would be responsive to the subpoena and provide a certification that it had been compliant with the subpoena. Trump, in sum and substance, made the following statements, among others, as memorialized by Trump attorney number 1, and we understand that to be Corcoran. Just a couple of bullet points here.
See, I didn't understand that, but I'm glad you filled in the blanks for me.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what Trump said. I don't want anybody looking. I don't want anybody looking through my boxes. I really don't. I don't want you looking through my boxes. I mean, it sounds like the dude from Stripes. You know what I mean? I see you guys touching my stuff, and I kill you.
I was thinking like badges. We don't got no stinking badges.
Another one.
Chill out, Francis.
Exactly.
Totally.
So as you know, if we ever get into every really heavy combat, I'll be right behind you.
Right.
Every step of the way.
Go right on ahead.
Another thing Trump said. Well, what happens if we just don't respond at all or don't play ball with them? Another one. Well, wouldn't it be better if we just told them we don't have anything here?
That's the best question, right? Because the other ones you could legitimately say, like a client can ask a lawyer, yeah, so just explain to me what the consequences of different decisions are here.
Not abiding by
Right?
the subpoena, right?
But that one's like, hey, I've got a whole bunch of these things, but what if we just act like I don't? Is that going to be a problem?
That'd be better, right? If we just told them we didn't have anything.
Like, but with confidence, you know.
We don't have anything. And finally, along
If you
the same,
strongly object,
Yes.
it's more believable.
Right.
Along those same lines, Trump said, well, look, isn't it better if there are no documents?
Right. That's sort of see the point I just made.
I mean, if there are no documents, and again, you got to remember, Trump is not like saying we should turn everything over, we should give it all back. He's saying, nah, just tell them that ain't here. Wasn't me.
Well, and that's
bonfire.
Right. What happens if there's a flood? Wait.
Oh, yes.
Wait.
Is he quoted as saying that?
No, but like there was a flood and back in
there was like a pool water flood.
Listen to me. Back in 1988, He used exactly the same excuse in another huge legal matter. Decades ago, when New York City auditors launched a probe over allegedly delinquent payments from the then Trump-owned Grand Hyatt, key documents that Trump's lease obligations required him to maintain and turn over got lost in a flood.
The pool overflowed. Who knew?
Reading from their filed paperwork, in September 1988, the hotel informed us that it could not locate 7 of the 12 monthly general ledgers because they were discarded after they were severely damaged by water when the room in which they were stored in was flooded. Like, he's doing it again. The guy has one playbook, right?
But some of the accusations were that he was keeping classified documents in a hotel room, in a bathroom,
in the shower.
It is in the shower. And then
in case you need to turn the water. Oh, sorry, they're all wet.
There's legit pictures of these huge stacks of boxes on like a ballroom bandstand. And it's literally, they were in the ballroom. And the picture that they use in the indictment was taken by a guest who like posed in front of the boxes. And they say photo redacted to protect source. That's what's underneath the photo. I was like, no kidding. That's the wrong selfie to take.
It's Jack Smith Day. She's attorney Maggie Dawn. She's seemingly happy like the rest of us. Come on back. We'll make some time for your phone calls. 844-967-2789. It's Friday. Feeling pretty good.
If I catch any of you guys in my stuff, what would you I'll kill you.
I don't kid.
Hey friend, Matt Rothschild here with the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. Just one second of your time to urge you to get in touch with Governor Evers and tell him to veto the so-called riot bill that might be heading his way anytime soon. The bill would charge you with a felony if you're in a group of 3 or more people and you intentionally commit an act of violence or you intentionally incite an act of violence. But acts of violence are already crimes in Wisconsin, so that part of the bill is unnecessary. The second part of the bill about incitement is dicey. The bill defines intentionally incites really loosely. It could mean just encourage. So you could encourage someone to go to a rally and quote Malcolm X saying we need to oppose racism by any means necessary. And then under this bill, you might face 3.5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. That's nuts. And don't kid yourself. It's not the rowdy white boys on Langdon Street who would be picked up for felony riot after a Badger football game, but the black activists who are protesting against police brutality. So tell Governor Evers to veto the riot bill as soon as it arrives on his desk.
Larry, it's your mom. Did you know the Civic Media Network covers the whole state of Wisconsin? They can help your business get the word out, whether you want to reach a smidge of folks or just want the whole kit and caboodle. Call 608-819-8255. Okay then, bye.
Fear you may be missing out? We're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app. Enjoy listening live or catch up by finding the podcast at civicmedia.us or wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts.
Here's your Mad Radio forecast. Partly cloudy skies tonight with a low of 58. Westerly winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. High of 82 tomorrow, cloudy skies. Scattered thunderstorms likely tomorrow night. Lows around 53. Overcast skies. Temps a bit below average Sunday and Monday with highs from the upper 60s to the low 70s. Showers possible both days. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 80 degrees.
This summer, Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX has a new starting lineup. 4 to 6, The Devil's Advocates with Tom and Cruz. Then at 6, The Maggie Dawn Show. On Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX.
Hey, where's the beat?
It goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher than the touch. You know, the touch, you don't have to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air. That's how it's passed.
Charged, never convicted. The Devil's Advocates.
And welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Happy Friday to us all. Happy Jack Smith Day. Last segment for us today, but you can join us, air the grievances, or celebrate a little bit with us if you're so inclined at 844-967-2789.
Tom, let's go to a couple of Maggie Dawn fans, I suspect. Rico from Rock County. Welcome, Rico. Say hi to Maggie.
Hey, Rico.
Hey, how you guys doing? How are you there? Hey. Oh, happy day. Yeah, we got the Jack. Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to say, Maggie, I am so glad you got back in on this great movement across the airwaves called Civic Media. That was the greatest thing. And not to you guys, but you don't come prepared like she does.
Hey, thanks for the call, Rico. Wow, you're breaking up a little bit, man.
What do you mean we don't come prepared like she does?
Facts are facts, Rico. I just got to say.
Yeah, you got that right. Hey, I just wanted to say the other day I was outside and I got these echoes of Rico coming from the south, from Georgia, I believe, Fannie Willis. And I heard callers earlier, a couple of them, Bill and Don called in earlier. Rojo, for some reason there must be blood in the water, or we smell the stink on the pile. But Rojo came up a lot today, and I'm just wondering, Maggie, what do you think that might make its way all the way up here to little Wisconsin? Because I've heard she's trying to get people to, states to join in her investigation down there.
Who calls Ron Johnson a person, Rico?
Yeah, Rico. Thanks for the call, man. I guess to his point, literally the Rico charge, right?
Yeah, that's a huge part of what is lingering here. I think we have an issue that eventually will have to get addressed, and it's like, where's Josh Call? Hello, Josh Call. It's Democracy Calling. Would you like to show up today? I mean, of all of the things and all of the moments in your entire career as a lawyer, why wouldn't you want to go to the mat on this thing? Like, if this isn't the one call to arms for someone who professes to really deeply claim to love democracy and want to be an attorney general, right? Like, why is there such profuse crickets from that office? I don't understand that. It wouldn't be an easy case. I think Fannie Willis, and how many months on now are we? But like, everyone
what does
understands.
Imminent mean exactly?
2 days, 2 weeks,
Honey,
2 years.
I know I'm late, but I'll be home imminently.
On these federal,
I don't think that's gonna work.
On these federal charges, I got to tell you, imminently meant pretty damn quick. She's Maggie Dawn, Milwaukee County Corporate Counsel. We'll get to a few more callers quickly. Didn't Donald Trump, I've seen on Twitter, Donald Trump changed the law, signed it into law, increasing the penalty for mishandling documents to 5 years in prison and made it a felony. Now, I know he's been charged with worse, but he did that to basically, preemptively get ready to punish Hillary Clinton.
Yes, it was.
Wouldn't it be ironic if he was prosecuted under the very statute that he hardened to stick it to Hillary? Lock her up.
Yeah, it would be like Marion Barry having raised the criminal penalties on 8 Ball.
I'm glad we're keeping it all above board here. 844-967-2789. It is National Sex Day. And Jack
Smith Day.
I just thought it would be a nice little bit of political nostalgia. Right?
Yes, thank you for that. A little throwback. Yeah,
it's very throwback.
And to the point.
Oh, perfect analogy,
Yes.
Was it not?
In every way.
Donald Trump's hypocrisy is so legion at this point, right? But again, I want us to observe the fact that Jack Smith took the extra inches in this indictment to put in those factoids about what Donald Trump had said, specifically about those that mishandle classified information and those criminal people that give it to folks in the media.
I predict eventually a video of Rudy, it's going to look like Abscam. Remember that when the federales had some fake sheik paying off all these lawmakers? You remember that in the late 70s?
Vaguely. I was just born, Mike.
We're going to see a whole series of people Rudy was trying to sell pardons to. And then he's also made videos so he could Epstein them after the fact. 844-967-2789. I'm sorry. You go, Maggie.
No. Here's a little interesting fact. First of all,
she grabs her cross-tabbed indictment of
we do have to spend a moment and talk about the fact that this was assigned to Judge Aileen Cannon, right? And this is the woman who was twice overruled by the 11th Circuit for getting things like so egregiously wrong. Here was the appeals court in one of the decisions that smacked Judge Cannon down. Quote, "This appeal requires us to consider whether the district court has jurisdiction to block the United States from using lawfully seized records in a criminal investigation." Here's how the court answered its own question. The answer to that is no, period. The 11th Circuit ruled that Cannon improperly exercised jurisdiction and that, quote, "dismissal of the entire proceeding is immediately required."
She was accused of flouting the law by the appellate court, was she not?
Yes. Like, I worked for a conservative federal appeals court judge. We didn't write opinions like that. That's basically calling her an idiot. Like, in lawyer speak, that's what that is. So here's what. There's this very interesting, this is super wonky. There's this very interesting piece of jurisprudence in the 11th Circuit. And it doesn't say that a judge who's really screwed up super bad before on the case can be recused on that basis. But it does indicate that if a judge appears to be so biased in favor of a defendant, they can be reassigned. This case is U.S. v. Martin. And so it is unlikely, all else being equal, that Judge Cannon would want to get embarrassed under one of those rulings. So if it sticks with her, I think she's going to actually take herself off the case.
You heard it here first. That, and of course, Dom and I reported 38 indictments.
Yeah, you did.
We have it on good fact from the lady that did the homework. She's Maggie Dawn. You know her from the Maggie Dawn Show, Monday through Thursday, and occasionally Fridays with the Devil's Advocates. Thank you for doing so, Maggie. Don't forget, our pal Pizza Box Mike, he'll be here at 7 on WMDX.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Maggie.
Happy birthday, Mike.
Happy birthday, Mike.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Stephanie.